Okay, let's do a little bit of a question from my client segment today. Did I say that right? In my session today with a client, in one of them, a client asked a really important question. And it's an important question if you consider yourself to be an energetically sensitive or empathic being. You feel things deeply. You absorb the emotions and the energy around you. You're tuned in, dialed in to more than the average Joe. And it impacts you. It not only impacts you in the moment when you're feeling it, but in such a way where it impacts how you show up in other areas of your life. So the question was, we were talking about understanding her energy and how it flows and how she's designed to function. We did it through the lens of a system called human design. If you're not familiar with that, look it up, because I'm not going to go into it here, but it's essentially, you can think of it as like your soul blueprint, how you're designed to show up and operate and function in this world, in this lifetime, how your energy flows with life, how it flows against life. And the invitation is to bring awareness to these different aspects and facets of who you are so that you can embrace them and work with them and kind of drop all that conditioning that says you should be doing it a different way and condemning yourself in the process, because you're never going to be able to do it any other way other than how you are designed to do it. So we're looking at that, and we talked about a bunch of different important aspects that she could experiment with. And that's when she asked, okay, I'm honoring my energy, I'm honoring my boundaries. What happens when I do so and the other person is not happy about that and they express it to me and I take that in and it knocks me over and it makes me feel burnt out. It just like sucks the life force energy out of me. And it's not because I feel like I did something wrong. I'm still, committed to my boundaries, but it's like I'm getting hit by their emotions. And what do I do with that part? I thought that was such a great question. I feel like people don't ask that kind of question or get far enough to that point in the process of interacting and showing up as who you really are, consciously, intentionally. But it's an important part, because if you are energetically sensitive, you will feel the sort of consequence of your actions energetically, right? So what I said to her, which I'll relay to you now because it might be helpful to you, what I said to her is it involves maybe a 3-4 step process here. Step 1 is awareness, like just embrace it. Let's not try to overcome or have any big grand goals of not being impacted by other people's thoughts or reactions or opinions or behaviors towards you. We're human. We're gloriously sensitive. Sensitivity is a gift. It can be a royal pain in the ass sometimes, like in situations like this, but it's going to happen. So let's not waste any time or energy trying to overcome it or pretend that it's not a thing. When you do that, incidentally, your level of resistance drops and you are more capable of working with that energy in the moment. Step 2 would be to define the boundaries and the narrative, the meaning that you hold around this whole situation within yourself first. There's a lot of talk about boundary setting these days. It's wonderful. And if you don't have it well defined within yourself first, and if you're not honoring them within yourself first, I know that's redundant. I don't know another way to say that. But you know what I mean? Like, you can talk about boundaries all day long, but if they're not clarified within you, and if you're not thinking thoughts, speaking words, taking actions within yourself to honor those boundaries for yourself, then you're going to have a really hard time doing that with other people. So take a deeper look at it. Like, what's going on here? For example, the narrative or the belief that is in play here is, everyone should help their family members out, right? If a family member needs help, you drop everything, you give them what you got, their family. It's what you do. Okay. Sounds nice and noble, right? Is it sustainable? Not all the time, unless you have a picture perfect family and super, well healed and evolved people in your family who have no issues whatsoever. We're all human, right? We all got them. So it's more realistic to look at it as, yeah, family is important. I do want to help my family. Will I drop everything at a moment's notice when I know it's going to make my whole world topple, and therefore I can't keep showing up for them or my family? So you switch the narrative, you find a new meaning that makes more sense and is something you can be in greater alignment with, and creates more congruency, not only in your relationship with that person, but your life. So it might look like or sound like, okay, family means a lot to me, and I'm willing to show up and help them to the best of my capacity when I can, but not when it's at a cost to me, or not when the relationship itself is lacking in boundaries and has some toxic aspects, or not when there's no reciprocity and I'm always giving, and they're always taking. That doesn't feel good. You'll burn out. You will burn out. You all have had this experience. I'm certain of it. So new boundary is I check in with myself first. I feel into it. I consult my authority or my intuition, make my decision from there. And then I express or practice the boundary with that other person or in that situation. And sometimes that can look like, a nice conscious conversation of like, hey, I've got a boundary here and I need to enforce it. Some version of that. Obviously, you wouldn't say it that way. But more often than not, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to just be through your action of like, you know what, I'd love to help you out right now, but my plate is full. I'm going to call and check in on you later. Or something like that. Again, situations call for different things. I'm being incredibly general right now to drive my point home. And then the most important step, and I think this makes it step 4. So step 1, awareness that you're going to have your reaction or their energy is going to impact you, and that's okay. You're human, you're sensitive. It kind of works that way. Don't fight it. 2 is reevaluate the narrative around this, the meaning you're attaching to whatever belief is active in this situation, aka set your own boundary within yourself. Step 3 is set the boundary and honor the boundary with them, either verbally or through your actions. Step 4 is to get good. This is really hard to get good at, so I'll say get practiced in the art of allowing others their own experience of you, of your aligned choices, of your boundaries, of you honoring yourself and your own energy. That, I'm sorry, takes practice, and I don't know that it ever is like 100% easy where you're like, I feel nothing. You might be a sociopath if that's the case. But it can look like, all right, that didn't sting. That didn't knock me down. It didn't take me 3 days to recover from that. All right, I'm getting better. I can do this. Right? So if I had to boil it down into a 4-step process, that's what it would look like. But it is a rinse and repeat. And all of this hinges, your ability to do any of this hinges on your ability to show up for yourself consistently, understand your energy and how it works, get into a daily consistent practice where you're practicing alignment, awareness, consciousness. There are other videos for this, so I won't go into that here either. But if you want some help with it, you can reach out to me. You can go to novawhiteman.com. I've got free resources everywhere, but if you want some more in-depth help with that, reach out to me personally and we can talk about ways to increase your awareness of how your own unique energy functions. But get out there and practice it. Just start small. And step 1 is always going to be awareness.